Surviving Sister Wives contains adult content that may not be suitable for Latter-day Saints or sinners. Listener discretion is advised.
Hello and welcome to Surviving Sister Wives.
I'm Corey.
And I'm Carly, and this is Season 19, Episode 3. Am I my brother's keeper?
I don't think so. But, okay, so was this for Avalon, then? Am I my brother's keeper?
I have no idea how this connects to anything.
She has multiple brothers who are coming home.
Yeah, it's true.
Baby brother. I don't know how to say it, like for baby sister. Yeah, I don't know how to do the brother version of that. I guess we'll have to pay Cody $149 for a cameo and see how he would say that.
He'll just hard pass on us again, so someone else is going to have to do that.
Hey, Corey and Carly, it's not going to happen.
That's getting disturbingly accurate.
It's the more that I watch them, the actual ones, the more honed in. I don't know. It's just there's like a sponge in my brain.
It's really like getting attuned to his voice.
Yeah. It's lining up with the rhythm and the cadence and the delivery and just that painful, forced happiness that is not coming from a real place.
I was pleased with this episode because it was a birth episode, but there wasn't a whole lot of birthing.
Yes, I was very much in favor of that. You know what this felt like? It felt like there was originally going to be about 6 episodes worth where this content was spread out, and then they went back and they chopped it down, and they were able to throw it all into this one singular episode, which is great.
Thank God.
Standing ovation, applaud the editing team for going back and having the structured discipline to go ahead and do that for us. You did us all a service.
So what did we end up seeing in this episode?
Well, the TLC description for this one is, after reuniting at a wedding, Cody describes the family dynamic as a total civil war. Christine and Robyn reunite in the waiting room as Mykelti welcomes her twins via C-section. At a game night with Robyn and their kids, Cody reflects on his 3 failed marriages.
Christine and Robyn reunite is an interesting word choice.
Yeah, after reuniting?
Reuniting makes it sound like both parties want to be in each other's presence.
Sounds like there might have been a freaky something that was going on there. If you're reuniting, how united are we getting?
They don't go weird.
No.
Never have, never will. I mean, Christine goes weird, but not with her sister wives. We haven't met David yet. Can we talk about how ridiculous that is?
No, here's the issue. We were talking about, you were saying reuniting for Christine and Robyn. I thought you were talking about the reuniting in the first sentence. They use reuniting twice in this description.
I did not realize that.
So we were on the complete opposite sides there.
All right, ready for mine?
Yeah.
Cody makes another wedding all about him. Mykelti's twins arrive in the shortest birth scene in Sister Wives history. Robyn covets her ex-sister wives' grandbaby.
But it's also hers, but it's kind of not.
She's got one. There's 2 babies, though, so she wants 2.
She wants them both. Yeah. And the one that she has doesn't look as happy. I think it's picking up on a lot of that negative energy that she's kind of just permeating around her in her aura. There's a lot of yellows, a lot of blues, a lot of greens.
Yeah, she doesn't really enjoy when resources are distributed evenly. And we saw that this episode.
Very much so, yeah. Before we get into the episode, we've got a couple of announcements.
And don't fast forward. There's interesting information here.
Well, let's jump in with what is the recent news here. It's Christine's coaching stuff that she signed up for.
She's journaling, which we know was Mary's entryway into the coaching world.
Are we going to have a Meredith Marks bath bomb situation here where Mary's going to have to confront Christine?
MLM coaching is my thing.
You are stepping in on my turf, and I don't appreciate it. I worked for 7 years making those journal entry prompts, I guess. Is that what we want to call it? It was a PDF.
She could have joined Worthy Up.
Could have. But then she would be in Mary's downline, and that's not really going to help.
She's been there, done that.
Yeah.
It wasn't great.
Not recommended. So I guess Christine's getting into it. I'm sure it's something with Mel Robbins because Janelle's been throwing around Mel Robbins as well this week on Instagram.
Oh, yeah, she is. So she must be involved with this as well.
Maybe.
Although
yeah.
Mel Robbins is not related to this situation. It just seems that lots of people who are interested in coaching also are interested in Mel Robbins.
And fun fact, we also learned Mel Robbins is not related to Tony Robbins. Very different, even though they're both in the motivational speaker
why
sense.
Did you think that?
There were people who did.
Okay.
So yeah, it happens. Also, Mel is short for Melanie. Melanie is a lady, even though gender is a social construct.
Yeah, there is some confusion about Mel Robbins. And
not Mel. It's not like
is.
Mel Gibson.
Well, there's the confusion.
Yeah.
What's Mel Gibson's name short for?
Melford?
I think you put me on the spot.
Yeah, you put me on the spot and something came out. That's what happened. Melvin?
Oh, I think that's probably a better guess.
But not a better name. If someone names their child Melford, please send me the birth certificate.
Let us know.
I will sign it.
What else is going on? Oh, we found out that Robyn and Cody are not, in fact, buying that, what was it, like a $3.7 million home in Flagstaff that was rumored to be the one that they were moving into.
Not enough stables, not enough wall space for art.
There is a home in Flagstaff that I have my eye on that I'm waiting to see if it's the one. There's a lot of art. It's hung on the ceilings. In some cases, it's defying gravity. And I just think it's the perfect place for them to move right in.
Grow their collection. See, Janelle wanted to grow up, but they just need to grow their art collection. It's the exhibit that's expanding. As for updates here on the pod, make sure you are jumping into the Discord, where we're doing our watch parties on Monday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern time. So that's when we're all getting together in the Sister Wives Season 19 text chat channel, and we're texting along while we're watching the episode.
And you can do that by joining our Patreon at patreon.com/survivingpod. If you haven't been there in a while, head over and check out the tiers. We revamped everything. We've got some new benefits. We're trying to do some new and exciting things. So browse over there.
As part of those benefits, too, you get access to our episodes early and ad-free. So just a reminder, we're dropping Sister Wives episodes on Monday morning on the public feed here on this podcast, but we also have our Surviving Reality podcast as well, where we're doing the season finale of Plathville. That's coming out this Wednesday. And then also we're recapping Real Housewives of Salt Lake City every Friday. You're getting a new episode over there. Unless you're signed up on the Patreon, then you're getting them the evening before.
And the last update, we have merch. If you haven't heard, head over to Etsy. It's Surviving Pod Shop. You can find the link in the show notes in our Beacons link. And we've got a No Thank You Daddy shirt. We've got the Fajita Cantina that's rolled out.
And the Mediocre Down. I'm surprised you forgot about that one, Carly.
One I can never remember.
That is available now as well, so be sure to swing on over and check that out.
All right, let's jump into it.
We'll get right into it. I think before the episode even started, we got the recap stuff, and the drama drums were back. I wasn't prepared for that. We had a couple of stingers with that, but then also the Dark Knight soundtrack.
It was very dramatic.
It was the wife that we deserve, but not the one we need right now.
It was dramatic and also like very long. I felt like it was drawn out for quite a while.
Maybe that was just us. I think that says more about us than it does about the episode.
I was just so eager to see what was going to happen at Logan's wedding.
An unknown wedding, an undisclosed wedding. We cannot speak their names, Logan and Michelle. We know whose wedding it is, but they're not even saying the names on the show.
That really tells you how much they don't want to be part of this show.
At all. Yeah, they are completely distanced. I don't know if the cease and desists were established. I don't know what happened, but if you can't even say their name on the show, that's pretty big.
I do think it's really relevant and important, though, to know that it's his son's wedding. It's not a distant family member. It's not a family friend. It's his son's wedding.
It's our dad. It's Logan.
Oh, yeah, it is Daddy Logan.
It's Daddy Logan. And that's the most interesting thing is like the whole week leading up to this wedding, Logan's wedding, we're not sure. Are Cody and Robyn in attendance? They have to leave it up to a last minute decision. They're going to see how they're feeling that day, but that's not really how weddings work.
No.
You're not able to do that.
It makes so much more sense now, the pictures we saw where it seemed like they were sitting in the back row, because they didn't know if they were even going to show up.
So for Kody to call that out and to be shitty about it, how they were tucked back in a corner for their own safety, he jokingly remarks, but you can tell he was a little bit wounded by it. Dude, you needed to RSVP months ago. You're telling people the week of that you're still undecided for this?
Well, Corey, everyone's being mean to him.
There's too much drama. Kody doesn't want to go to this family event where people are going to be looking at him and judging him. He's not about it.
That's what he usually likes about weddings, though, isn't it?
Eyes on him. He needs the attention, but he would prefer it to be positive attention. He doesn't know what to do with all the negative attention at this point.
I think he's not really clued into the fact that we usually are watching you and making fun of you at weddings. That is what's happening.
Oh, rest assured, Kody. We have always thrown negative energy your way. So please relax and just enjoy. But it took Logan specifically asking them, personally saying, I would really like you to be in attendance at my wedding. And that's what kind of changed their mind to go ahead and move forward with this.
They were more worried, Kody and Robyn, about Kody's feelings, and then I guess Saul and Ari, who didn't go from the pictures that we saw.
I don't know how this got mixed in here. Yeah, with Robyn's concerns because she's going mama bear with her tenders.
I don't think Saul can leave the She-Ra Chateau.
You think his essence is trapped there? It's
Yeah.
like season 1 of American Horror Story.
He can't get through the front door. He gets sucked back in.
You know what happened? He got buried when they were digging the hole for the cistern, and now he is stuck on that land.
Do you think that baby Saul's soul departed that day and was sucked into the She-Ra Chateau?
It's just, Coyote Pass.
Coyote
It's
Pass?
like that's pretty much where he can roam here. He has to be within eye shot of the mountain.
It's the mountain.
The mountain is what holds the power here.
Maybe there are just no corn dogs at the wedding. You know what this made me think more about? Gwen's wedding.
Oh, yeah, because we haven't even gotten there yet.
No, that happens in July, right? Was it July of the same, whatever? I think it's the
following
same year.
Well, no, like
because
the
it's this coming July in the time of the show.
because this is October 22.
So then it's July 23. Kody and Robyn showed up super late.
Very late, and none of the children came with them. It was just Kody and Robyn.
So were they debating the whole time whether or not they were even going to make an appearance at her wedding based on how Logan's wedding went?
So that will be an interesting comparison point because I think Gwen did say that they were filming a lot of the stuff for her wedding.
I thought they didn't film her wedding.
Oh, maybe they didn't for the wedding,
I
but
think they
just
filmed
leading
the
up
stuff
to.
leading up to it.
Okay, yeah. So I think there was more family filming stuff that was happening for the show related to Gwen's wedding. Obviously, Logan and Michelle's wedding, absolutely nothing. Cameras were not permitted on premises either. But then this got Christine thinking about, when was the last wedding? What can we look back on? Oh, it was Aspen and Mitch's wedding. Boy, times have changed, right? Not a single bagpipe could be heard today.
Oh, I was waiting for the bagpipes.
Oh, I was setting Maisie. Yes, she's not a fan of this, but that's okay. It's just different now. That's all it is.
I'm going to apologize to anybody who sleeps with this podcast. There's
Yeah.
a lot of people who like to lull themselves
Oh.
to sleep with the sounds of our voices.
I try to turn it down in post, but as much as I can, just to level it out.
The only person who has an excuse for not showing up is Mykelti because she's on bed rest from doctor's orders. And I feel like Robyn could easily obtain that from their chiropractor if she really wanted to.
That's still too much work for her. You have to make an appointment. You have to get there before noon.
I'm going to need you to submit a note about why you weren't able to attend.
It's not going to fly. That's not going to work.
Isn't it just so shitty that leading up to his wedding, Logan was having to worry about whether or not they were going to come? That's stressful.
Everything about this, it's Kody could not set this aside to say, it doesn't matter. However I'm feeling today, whatever I'm nervous about, it doesn't matter. Logan wants me to be there, I'm there. That would have been supportive, but it's still everything is through this filter where it's Cody's experience, and that's all that matters.
Well, and also Robyn's experience, because then we get to hear her complaints about how they were treated, which she just seems like someone that you cannot please no matter what you end up doing.
That was the interesting part for me.
I don't understand how they're both simultaneously upset that they were separated from the family and yet also are scared to interact with everybody.
Do you know what it sounded like, too? It sounded exactly like Brianna's excuse last episode when she was complaining about the parents should have done more to fuse us all together as a family, even though I think it was Robyn, Christine, Mary. I think a lot of the wives had declared by season 2 or 3,
we're blended.
We're blended. We're done. It's official. Stop asking us about it. It's done. We did it. And now looking back on that, we seem to have a very different opinion on what that is. So maybe in the first 2 seasons, yeah, they weren't really there yet, but you could probably let that stuff go. It's just very interesting to me where all of these things that are okay, forgiven, and we can move on from that.
Nothing's ever really forgiven.
Yeah, but we don't forget about it because then as soon as something else happens, I'm going to get upset about that again. And it's not over. It's not done. You have still wounded me and it's unforgivable.
I guess the problem here was that everyone just kind of kept to their own clique, as Cody would refer to it. So they just kind of talked to the people that they weren't upset with, and the people who they were upset with, they just ignored.
And I mean, yeah, because Janelle talking about how she saw Mary, she looked at Mary, she nodded at Mary, she talked to Mary. Well,
nodded.
She kind of talked.
We nodded at each other.
I like how too she was like, well, we talked. No, we didn't really talk. On second thought, I think it would be pretty over the top for me to say that we talked. We did not speak verbally. There was a shared gesture, a nod.
I'm upset with that just personally because there was so much tea that Mary could have been spilling at this wedding about what was going on with her and Cody, and nobody gave her the time of day, so she didn't even get to talk about it.
People are so used to Mary being so boring when you ask her what's going on, and especially between her and Cody. So nobody even thought to ask, and it's like there are huge developments here.
Well, they wouldn't have noticed that anything was different because they were just continuing to interact in the same way that Cody and Mary always have for the past, decade or so.
Plus, she probably couldn't get a word in edgewise because Peyton just kept telling everybody about his new gentleman's club job that he received.
Yeah, we did hear that was a major focus of discussion. He thought that everyone was very interested in it.
It was the showstopper for the evening.
So even though Cody was stuck at a table in the back like Tony Soprano, waiting for someone to burst in the front door,
Don't stop believing.
Peyton was here to make sure that there was still big Cody energy at this wedding.
He provided, yes, very much so.
This is starting to make Cody think a little bit. What if Christine and I had broken up and just kind of remained friends? It seems like maybe that would have been a better direction for the family.
You know, looking back on it, in hindsight, a more amicable split probably would have been way better for everyone involved. Not just Cody and Christine, but every single person in the family. Every interpersonal relationship would have been better, but oh well.
Too late. I'm not going to go fix that. You could still have a conversation with Christine and say, look, I've handled this very poorly. There was no reason to get as upset as I did about the fact that you asked for a divorce. I also was not happy in this marriage. And I think that we should try to unite the family again and show that we can be friendly to one another. It'll never happen.
No, I don't think that we're ever going to see that. So that was an interesting scene to write in your head, Carly, but I don't think it's going to come to fruition.
I'm really scripting things like Mama Plath now.
Well, I just liked how Christine couldn't even wrap her mind around the fact that there were 5 adults in the family at one point. Because I think she was thinking back and she was like, the last time the 4 of us were together, we're probably... And it's like, well, is she just not counting Cody as an adult? Because
no, she's not counting Mary.
Oh, you think
she's definitely not counting Mary.
See, I thought it was just because Cody is an infant man-baby child. And so she just dropped him off the list because that wasn't an adult. So there were 4, or maybe she meant the 4 wives, but she said that in passing. But it was just funny to me.
No, I'm pretty sure she was excluding Mary.
4 adults.
How many times have they done that where Janelle will be talking and she'll be listing everyone out and then she leaves Mary out?
It's happened several times. It keeps happening.
So if I'm going to make an assumption, that's my bet.
Okay. Yeah.
Speaking of, Cody is trying to make sure that things don't escalate to the point that they did with Christine because he can't afford having another enemy out there in the world.
Well, this is where we got to see the bike footage too. This is how we opened that scene. So that was the da-na-da-na-da-na.
Yeah.
He was aggressively riding a bicycle.
It was giving Wizard of Oz.
Very much so. And just, I think it's I don't know, there's something about the visor with the hair that's like popping through it like a chia pet.
It's very manic. Even the way he pedals, you would think that it was very windy, that there were tornado force winds coming through there. What gear is he on with that bike?
Yeah, we got to shift. Got to shift soon. I think so. But I think maybe he's just trying to get some pent-up aggression out because he's thinking through all of these frustrations that he's had. Why does Mary hate him so much? He can't wrap his mind around that.
Oh, I thought you were going with pent-up sexual energy.
Oh, sexual aggression because he does not have... Well, he had already cut off Christine, and that was why their relationship came to an end. So you're saying he's got some Janelle energy that he's got to get rid of here?
You know, he needs someone to pull that ponytail.
He's burning some steam off here. Maybe, a little bit. Well, yeah, I think this is just an interesting scene because Cody is realizing he's seeing the value of being friendly with Mary because, yeah, he cannot afford any other enemies because he is continually losing this family civil war against Christine and Janelle, and now he's asking for reinforcements.
Okay, it's just funny because he's been making an enemy of Mary for 12 years now.
But it became personal when he saw there were so many other people at the wedding who were having fun.
Oh, they were doing that just to get back at him, Corey.
Obviously, that's the only reason why people would be having fun at a wedding is to make Cody feel bad. Duh. So the request, it's just very rich to go to Mary and ask her for this favor to please side with me so that way I can hold my own against this feud that I have between Christine and Janelle. So I thought, with the Civil War theme, what would that letter from the front sound like from Cody if he had to write out a letter to Mary where he was asking for his Civil War reinforcements?
I'm sorry, you penned a letter?
I did. It took me...
How long is it?
It's not that long. No, this is like very brief.
Okay.
It's
messages to Mary typically are pretty brief.
Right. Yeah. And it honestly, the longest part that it took me to do was how to figure out how to address it because you can't say my dear. That's going to give her way too many ideas here. So, and I was trying to decide if I was going to read this as like a Ken Burns, very serious, dramatic reading, or if we should just do it as like a Cody cameo. And
I think we got to go the Cody way.
Voice. I think it's Cody voice. All right. So we'll open here. My esteemed acquaintance, I have not received anything from you for nearly 2 weeks. But your letters may have been getting lost in transit if written. I assume nothing important has transpired since our last correspondence. With our recent battle at Logan's ceremony of matrimony, reports from General Robyn appear bleak as our losses continue to mount. We suffered a most devastating blow when I was unable to partake in the consumption of the cake as I am stricken with a peculiar malady which has rendered me incapable of enjoying such delicacies.
There was no gluten-free cake for him,
Right, yeah, it was a hard time for him. I am, however, reluctantly requesting your aid as I honestly have nowhere else to turn.
That's the truth.
Though it is not my custom to request your involvement, and indeed, I would not, were there any alternative. The urgency of the hour compels me. I trust you shall answer this call with the dutifulness required by the situation, though I would not dare presume this action will endear us any further to one another. Yours in the most regrettable circumstance, Cody Wynn Brown.
I was waiting for a whole part about how he had been betrayed by some of his generals.
Oh, that could have been, yeah.
This could go on for a long time.
It could be a whole series, a Ken Burns documentary series, 24 hours long.
We really are looking for alliances in the most unexpected of places at this point.
Very much
Pure
so.
Desperation.
So then I think this got kind of the ball rolling in Cody's mind, where he's then wondering, why can't I talk with Janelle? Why can't I win her back? Because normally all we would do is we just kind of ignore this stuff and then we're okay again. And that doesn't seem to be working this time. So Cody is very confused. Normally, they just kind of move past this, push past it. We don't have to work on it. We don't have to address anything. And it just works out.
It is impressive that he never comes to the conclusion that perhaps an apology might be a good place to start.
Very interesting how that never comes to mind ever as a solution or as a place to start or mend or repair a relationship.
So we go straight from the wedding talk into a really strange scene at Robyn's house where they're having a game night with all of her kids. And I'm not really understanding what the point of this was. Just to see that they enjoy being with one another?
Well, it's wonderful family experiences that Cody and Robyn and their kids are able to have as monogamists.
It was so shitty, though, when we're talking about the state of the family. And then we go to, look at me, enjoying time. We do this on a regular basis over at Robyn's. I don't really understand why no one else wants to interact with me like this.
Because the expectations, I think it's just, there's a messed up dynamic here where he rewards the loyalty. And that's what we're seeing. That's the clear evidence here. And that's the connection point. He doesn't want relationships with mutual respect with his adult children. He wants blind admiration without question.
And then you get to eat caramel apples and play Jenga. That's your reward.
If you want to call it a reward, that's pretty generous assessment, I think, of the term there.
Of course, it's only Robyn's kids here because no one else is going to come over because Robyn's been trying to call the other kids, but they just don't answer.
Well, she doesn't remember most of their names.
Does she suffer from the same mold-induced amnesia that Sol and Ari have?
She's getting confused. She cannot place these people. The faces and the names, she's losing it. And so Sol and Ari don't stand a chance because, yeah, if Robyn can't keep it straight, then we're all over the place. You're on your own.
I'm going to need some of these kids to come forward with their call logs because I don't believe that Robyn is calling anyone outside of maybe Mykelti.
I think at this point it was a lot of Mykelti, Tony Mykelti. That's the only contact that they have.
All the other kids block them?
Pretty much, I'm assuming.
So this is putting Robyn in a really hard spot.
Gabe too, though, because Gabe and Robyn, they told each other that they love each other at Logan's wedding. So that was a big moment.
I have to tell you, Gabe is beyond nice in situations when he doesn't need to be necessarily. Because didn't we hear either Brianna or Aurora say that he would come up to them at school as well?
Aurora was talking about that, yeah.
Yeah.
And that they would tell each other that they love each other. They would give hugs. They would see each other and talk, and it was good.
Why did Robyn act so afraid of him?
That's why I still had hope for Aurora in some of that, because Robyn is still pushing that narrative where it's everybody else who's not listening to dad is evil and they don't love you and they're toxic and they're poisonous and stay away from them because then you'll get it too. And
you need the boundaries.
Yeah, you need to remain in contact with Cody.
Otherwise, the funds to purchase more art will be cut off.
And my retirement is right out the window.
Gotta protect mom's estate.
The assets.
At this point, Sol and Ari don't remember who most of their siblings are, and Robyn's not really sure how she could remedy that because she doesn't know how to explain to them. Like, am I going to talk to them about the other kids? If I do that, they're going to ask questions like, why doesn't so-and-so show up to my birthday party? So-and-so meaning because they can't remember the names. They can't,
exactly. Guys, it's a lost cause at this point.
That was ironic, that comment just about how come they're not coming to my birthday party when you almost didn't go to one of the other kids' weddings.
Yeah, if we're talking about missing family events, we came dangerously close to having that experience just this week.
It just proves that everything is about Robyn and her kids' experience. It really doesn't matter about anyone else.
Well, and to be shocked at the fact that you have this kind of rough relationship with the older kids, they're not going to connect with your younger children in the same way. That's just, there's a huge age gap between these people. And I mean, yes, while you are a family, they're not going to come over and dote on your kids every week.
That's a good point. This is incredibly normal for when someone has adult children that are significantly older than their youngest kids, that those children generally, like, they don't have a super close bond. They don't have things in common.
But that's not something that Robyn's birdie brain can compute because she has this perception that the baby birds don't leave the nest. This is what it is. Family is everything. Don't leave. Don't go outside of that. And this is what it is. But it's my kids should be the focus of it too. And everything should ultimately serve Robyn and Cody. I think it's amazing that she is confused why she has rough relationships with these older kids, though, when Robyn doesn't share food, is what we find out. She was constantly scolding the teenagers for raiding her fridge back in Vegas.
Yeah, never forget the sign that she had on the refrigerator door.
Ask Robyn or Mindy for permission before taking any food or any leftovers.
Remember when she shamed Isabel? I can't remember who else was there. Maybe it was Gwen and Isabel, and they poured some cereal, and she was upset that it was like an entire bowl of cereal because this was meant to be a snack.
Who pours a cup of cereal as a snack?
Look, I'm just saying, this woman, she has a tight grocery budget, as we learned last week.
Yeah, she must have been saving up for a vacation or two. That was probably when she was working on the Hawaii trip.
They're really rationing things over at her house. You get a half a corn dog.
That's the
for
point.
Breakfast today.
That's the point that we're at in the Civil War now. We got the ration cards. You got to be careful.
There's some tack if you want to have something to eat later on.
It's not gluten-free, though.
It's not, so Cody can't eat that. But they keep all the good food for Cody. Loyalty.
Must be. Well, that's how good he has it at Robyn's house. But now Cody starts thinking back on recounting his time with Christine as well. At Christine's house, he was romantic with her. But I think if we're being honest, sometimes romantic ain't enough for a freaky betch, huh?
They played sexy Jenga over there.
Oh.
You know, we're playing regular Jenga over at Robyn's.
Yeah, truth or dare Jenga. Maybe that's what jogged his memory.
They were romantic.
Romantic. I don't know if that's going to cut it.
The kids apparently didn't see it because they felt upset when they would go over to Robyn's house and see how Cody interacted with her versus how he interacted with their own mother.
Yeah, that's total BS is what I'll go ahead and call on that, because I think if we recall, that was the last push over the edge for Christine because Cody was trying to get her on the Mary Patreon tier where you don't get anything from Cody. You're just kind of here so that I can get into a celestial kingdom. Okay?
That won't do for our freaky bitch.
No, not at all.
No. I can't wait for her to meet David. She's going to get lusty.
Very quick. David doesn't even know Christine yet. And neither does Ari.
Yes. What was this story? I guess Cody was trying to uphold or display some of his parenting skills to us.
That is what we're getting.
Where Ari said something to him about how she didn't like Christine. And so he corrected her by responding, "You don't even know Christine. You don't know her well enough.
You don't
to
know
dislike her."
Yeah, you don't know her well enough to not like her. Even though he was very impressed that Ari didn't like Christine simply on the basis that because she left Daddy. So that's more than enough reason for her to not like Christine. That's all she needed to know. If you're not for us, then you're against us.
The mindset, even just the way he's trying to explain it of he corrected her, but it was still like a backhanded comment towards Christine.
And kind of to Ari, too, because doesn't that undermine the whole family structure that they were touting for all these years, too? That they were one big happy family and that everybody was interconnected and everybody knew what was, at least each other's names, I would assume, was probably a baseline for that.
It's because that bitch Christine didn't come over enough. She didn't volunteer to watch Robyn's kids enough.
Yeah, because Robyn hired a nanny and was forcing Christine out of that scenario. She did not have a sister-wife relationship with any of these other people, especially in the cul-de-sac. Years of documentary footage for that.
This was a really Ari-heavy episode because then we started talking about how she would freak out when Cody would try to leave Robyn's house. And there were a few times where she would wrap herself around his legs and pull on him to keep him from leaving.
And Robyn has to ensure us that she would never, ever let that impede Cody going to another wife's house, even though, even in this example, he was basically saying, "Hey, Robyn, you got to come drag your kid off of my leg." And Robyn's like, "You just got to let her go with this. She's just going to have to go until she burns out."
She's expressing herself.
Yeah.
It was very chimp crazy. Chimp crazy vibes.
Coming for the face. For protect your face.
Well, I'm sure they have a similar cage around the outside of the She-Ra Chateau as well. Keep everyone enclosed.
Let's not call it a cage. Yeah, it's an enclosure. Just as pink.
It's a habitat.
That's what it is.
Didn't we literally see during COVID that Cody said he didn't want to leave Robyn's house because Ari was doing that?
Yeah, and I like Janelle's take on this, where she's like, well, that just sounds like really bad parenting. It sounds like you didn't tell your kid that, hey, this is what it is. I don't know how else to explain it to you. But I think that was more of an issue because Ari was used to Kody being around all the time from living in the cul-de-sac. He didn't have a schedule that he stuck to. He was just at their house all the time.
That's the problem. Kody is not supposed to be a full-time parent at any one of these houses, and he never did that for anyone else aside from Robyn. So her kids don't understand why he needs to leave.
Yeah, because you're not living polygamy. You're not polygamous children in that sense.
Monogamous children.
You are very much monogamous children. I like that Kody is just kind of banking on, he's again going with the Janelle repair sort of solution here, where he's just hoping all of these relationships that he has will just sort of mend themselves over the next few years. Just give it some time. Don't put any effort in. Don't make an effort. Just have it get better.
He's just hoping everyone's going to forgive him.
Yeah, just move on. Just move past it. We're not going to address it. We're not going to talk about it, discuss it, analyze it.
They'll just get tired of being in a fight with him.
Yeah, it's a battle of will at this point, and it's just going to, he'll wear them out.
Robyn did seem like she was struggling a little bit cognitively in this scene. She didn't understand Cody's comment about how he would not eat any more caramel apples if Ari made the Jenga tower fall down.
Well, everybody thought that was dumb, because why would you take that bet? The Jenga tower is not unstable.
You know what? He does say things in a word salad-y way that don't even make sense to Robyn sometimes.
I think that was just his way of coming up with a reason for him to stop eating caramel apples. Otherwise, he was just going to eat them all. He was going to eat his feelings in caramel apples, and he's like, I need a reason to stop. Thank you for allowing me that. But yeah, Robyn hit us with, this has just been devastating what's happened to us. And I think that was the line that I wrote down, because again, it all comes back to things that are happening to them, and woe is me. Look at all this horrible impact that it's had on me and the negativity that it's brought into my life.
I'm worried about what's going on in the Shira Chateau. Did they need to move out because all of that negative energy has attracted demonic spirits?
That's a hot take.
It's a hot take?
Yeah, it's a hot take.
Do you think that's maybe a little unrealistic or out of the realm of possibility?
Just on the basis of existence? Yeah, probably.
I mean, Robyn and Saul are both looking rather pale.
I will say, Robyn was looking ghostly pale in this episode. So as upset as she is, maybe, yeah, is there some sort of energy draining that's happening here?
Cody's the energy vampire.
Yes, I think he still is. But that would play into, I feel like that's something that Robyn has been manifesting for so long with her fierce love of Twilight. That she would be very into this vampiric storyline for her.
Oh, she would love to be turned into a vampire.
So she's kind of into that.
Yeah. Oh, you know how Christine is our freaky bitch? That's the thing that gets Robyn going. Vampires. Vampire novels.
Vampire porn. And we're not here to kink shame.
Young adult vampire novels.
Well, that's her reading level, so you can't fault her for that. But yeah, I'm not here to kink shame. No, go for it if that's what you're into. But just be careful, because I feel like it is affecting Saul in a very negative way too.
He doesn't look healthy either.
He just has, it's that like frail prince, you know what I'm saying? Like the heir to the throne, sickly boy about him. I mean, I don't know how else to explain that.
That's.
It's like Game of Thrones, heir to the throne. This kid would not last a minute if he had to run this empire.
It's giving King Henry VIII's heir.
Just fragile. He's a delicate guy. Well, let's talk about somebody with a little bit more resilience here. Let's talk about Dr. Bean.
He is back.
Yeah.
Wow, Dr. Bean, we watched him deliver truly back in, what was that, the season 1 of the show?
Season 1. And we actually went back and watched that episode again recently. So that was weird. To have that line up like this.
To have him reemerge.
Like it was destiny, like it was meant to be.
He is going to be delivering Mykelti's twins. And she's in his office today to get a little checkup. And things don't go super well. One of the babies is breech. So that means that Mykelti is going to be scheduled for a C-section.
We'll see. Maybe they turn in there. But usually with the twins.
Don't get enough room.
There's no room. Can't turn them. What do you think? Were you able to agree with Janelle here that vaginally is always better, though?
Oh. Was that it? Oh, I don't like that joke. We're talking about births of babies, Corey.
Right.
Right. You're in the gutter.
Oh. Yeah, I don't know anything about childbirth.
Neither do I.
So I don't speak to
it. So you want me to guide the conversation here?
I'm not suitable for leading this conversation.
So finding out about the C-section, Mykelti's not super pumped. She really wanted to have another natural birth. So this is a lot for her to take in, to think about the fact that she's going to have to be coming back in 7 days and she's going to have surgery. Even though it is the safer option, so she's accepted that that's the route that she's going to need to go. Why did they include Kody?
That's
giving
the part.
His opinions here.
That's the part that I can speak to, because I cannot tell you how much I do not give a fuck about Cody's opinions on birth.
He prefers a home birth.
Great. Go have one. Oh, you can't. Okay.
He must have had zero involvement at all in the twins being born.
No, he just shows up when there is a baby now, or in this case, multiple babies, who he can imprint upon very early. So then that way there's the admiration. It can, he can feed some of that supply for a little while.
That's giving Twilight as well.
Oh, right. Yes. Is he Team Jacob or is he Team Edward?
We fast forward, it's a week later. Did you have anything else that you wanted to talk about, or are we good to move forward? I really don't care.
It was just, when they were flicking the shit with Dr. Bean.
I have to tell you, the excitement that I experienced knowing how short this scene was going to be.
Oh, yeah.
I was on a high watching this.
Half of it was them recounting how weird it was that Kody was talking about Mary's fertility when Christine was giving birth to Truly. So that was the last time we were hanging out with Dr. Bean. And just in agreement on how bizarre Cody's behavior is. So even though he's not here, we still get to shit on him a little bit. So that's nice. That was nice. Good touch.
It's a week later, and the twins are going to be born tomorrow. And Robyn is traveling there to be there for the birth. And she's really just hoping that there's going to be no drama from Christine.
This is a huge day for Robyn because Beelzebubby rides again. We're bringing it back, baby.
Did you like that they sent her to go pick up Tony's mom first? Is that the whole reason they invited her?
They were like, we don't have anybody else.
Maria needs a ride. So if you could just swing by St. George on your way up here, that would be great and appreciated.
Well, and Robyn probably only knows how to get to like 3 or 4 places. So St. George is one of them. So she was headed there anyway. She probably went there by accident at first, just autopilot. And she was like, I could probably just pick her up if that's easier.
She only knows one way to go.
Yeah.
She's like a glorified Uber driver for this birth.
That's good. I like that for her.
Also, what trauma is Christine going to start? Why does she always think that someone's going to approach her and start a fight with her?
I think that's just her anxiety, more as a baseline for this at this point.
I know she mentioned that she's experiencing a little bit of situational depression as well. Like, there are medication options out there that will also help with a little bit of that, take a little edge off of that anxiety. Been there, done that, Robyn.
Please,
it'll change your life.
Yeah, speak to Dr. Bean about that if you need to.
He does have to consult on a lot of other things that aren't his area of expertise.
Correct. Yeah, fertility, IVF, a bunch of
Do you know
things.
anyone good who, do you know any good psychiatrists?
Not offhand, no. Well, we're not even talking about any of those medical things. We're talking about surgery here because C-section is a surgery. That's what happens. And Mykelti's getting excited talking about setting up a mirror so she can get a front row seat to the C-section here, which I know that was probably a part that was very triggering for Carly here because I think this is your biggest fear come to life here.
Oh my God. She was talking about wanting to watch every moment of it. There's no way. Later on when she has a panic attack, that would be me. Except that would be me for the entire 9th month of my pregnancy.
Yeah, the whole time. See, and I thought Christine would be very on board with putting up mirrors. She's like, yeah, you should try it in a couple different spots. You get some angles.
I usually prefer that we do the mirrors before the pregnancy happens.
Right, yeah.
It's usually what leads to one.
The making process. Making of documentary process.
Is this when they started talking about why Robyn was invited to the birth, which was just, as we remember, basically the entire family hated Mykelti and treated her like the black sheep, and the only person who was nice to her was Robyn. So going back to imprinting, Robyn really made an impression on Mykelti when she was a teenager who was really looking for anyone to pay attention to her.
I feel like that was strategic, and I believe we called that out early on because I think Robyn was looking for a foothold into this family too. So there was mutual beneficial sort of ecosystems that were set up here where Mykelti needed a support system. Robyn needed to be seen as a valid member of the family.
And have a babysitter.
Well, yeah. Yeah, that's always a part of it too, because she did not pick a single pony here. She was working on Mykelti, Maddie, Aspen. She had a couple different
the older girls.
A couple different irons in the fire. But yeah, everybody who's old enough to watch her kids, that was who she was really making connections with.
So Christine has always known that Robyn was going to be here, so she's been mentally preparing herself for 9 months, unlike Robyn.
Yeah, who's just kind of showing up and then clicking her brain off, because that is a special ability that Robyn does have.
She's just disassociating in the waiting room.
I'm just not going to think about it. I feel something pop in behind my ears, and then it's just quiet for a while.
What happened for the rest of this? We're at the hospital now. They suit Tony up. He's ready to go into the OR.
But then I don't think you're supposed to be, when you get scrubbed up like that, then I don't think you're supposed to be hugging people who are wearing street clothes then, too. So maybe, was that before he went in or after? I don't know the medical.
Was it didn't seem...
I don't know the procedures.
As cleanly as maybe it could have been.
As cleanly?
Cleanly. It didn't seem like it was following a lot of hospital rules.
I don't think he was scrubbing in for that Frosty either. He was making a Wendy's run too. Did they do that?
Did he take that pic before he ran down to DoorDash?
Right, yeah.
Meet the DoorDash guy with the Wendy's.
It was him in the background, yeah, just through the window of the of the door there in the lobby.
I'll just crack the door, and if you could just slide the bag through the opening here. I hated the whole birth scene. Basically, Mykelti is waiting. There's a part of the procedure where she has to be alone, and she starts to have a panic attack, of course, because this is terrifying. She's never had a C-section before, and they're getting her all set up to go back into the OR. They bring Tony in, and everything's better. It's scary. And I didn't understand. This is Robyn's area of expertise, panic attacks. So...
Oh, I thought you were going to say C-sections.
No, I don't think so. Do you want Robyn to perform the surgery?
I do not, because then that's when you really have a Dr. Bean moment. There's a Mr. Bean moment.
And then fast forward, Ace and Archer are born, and everyone is safe and healthy, and I enjoyed that was the extent.
Everybody's there to support. Yes, this is good. That's why we're all here. We're all cooperating. Everybody's getting along. Everybody's here for Mykelti and Tony. That's very helpful. That's great. Robyn has a little breakdown moment when she realizes that she's holding a baby and Christine's holding a baby, and it's kind of like we're holding our grandbabies together. Yeah.
Which is literally what's happening.
Yeah, that's what you were doing.
The picture where she is looking longingly at the baby that Christine is holding, because the one that she has is either not holding her attention or there's two, so she wants two.
Yeah, Robyn is holding Archer, Christine is holding Ace, and Robyn is just looking sad, droopy face over at Ace.
Comparison is the thief of joy, and we're seeing it in this photograph.
And it is robbing Robyn in this moment.
I didn't like that we didn't get more footage of the two of them in the waiting room. Isn't that the whole story?
That should have been the point of this. It should have been, well, they probably didn't say a word to each other the whole time.
That's okay. I want to watch that.
I wanted to see that, though. Yeah, because then here's what you do. You intercut whatever the drama was that was going on with Tony and Mykelti and all of that medical drama that we had, the anxiety attack. They're preparing for surgery. They're doing all this stuff. Because I think they had filmed a lot of that stuff in there, but then they weren't allowed to use it, or something had happened too.
They never got permission from the hospital to do that.
So then they had like photos that they were able to use. So that's the thing. If you could set this up with a lot of the medical drama storyline and then just cut to Christine and Robyn having the most mundane interactions in the lobby.
Just as time passes.
Absolutely magical. That would have been hilarious and entertaining.
I keep saying it. I'm going to need someone to start producing this show.
Nobody's called me yet. The phone has not rung.
The rest of the episode is them bringing the babies home, and they've got a whole crew of people here. They got Christine, they got Robyn, they got Tony's mom, Maria, and they're just trading off who is helping with the babies at different points in time. And it is going to be Robyn's night at the house.
And it's just in time for them to bring the babies home, and then they get to introduce them to Avalon, big sister, who just goes right for the eyes. Boom. She's right in there. Finger first.
It feels like maybe we could have practiced with a doll or something.
Poke you in the eye.
To be honest, I don't really know the rules for preparing an older child to meet their siblings when you bring them home from the hospital.
Yeah.
I know how to prepare a dog.
That's what I was going to say. I was like, did you bring the blanket home so she could smell it? That's all I know how to prepare for.
You probably should have let her get acclimated to them first before you brought them in.
Did you have her in the bathroom with the door closed so then she could sniff under the door when you had the babies on the other side of the door?
Maybe you should have brought her out to a neutral space.
Not
for the
meeting,
first meeting.
Not meeting at the house. Maybe we could have met at Wendy's.
Tony was going to be there anyway.
It's on the way.
Just we need a JBC before we head home. A Diet Coke.
And a chocolate Frosty because we're not a monster. No vanilla.
I don't know. So I guess it didn't go well. They're interpreting Avalon's reaction to the babies as some form of jealousy, perhaps, which I know can happen between kids, but she seemed rather overwhelmed by the amount of people and probably also the camera crew.
That's not helping. Yeah, I feel like this is just a very overstimulating situation that's happening. Plus, it looked like it was very dark.
It was
at
nighttime.
Night. It was like probably past her bedtime, maybe.
You didn't wake her up in the middle of the night, did you?
Oh, man. So these are all bad ideas, I think. Just whatever's going on here.
Although it is November, so it probably gets dark a little earlier.
Yeah, probably, to be fair.
Cody knows what it's like, though, to experience jealousy when a new baby enters the home, because he's done that before with a wife and a baby.
Well, he's specifically calling out when Christine was wildly jealous of Logan, which I don't think that was the actual situation, because then Christine's recounting back and she's like, yeah, I think what that was the first year of polygamy was really hard for me.
I love when Cody rewrites history because his takes are so funny. The fact that he's saying that she was jealous of the baby when he keeps telling us how he brought Christine into the family because they were on the verge of murdering one another in the middle of the night and he needed someone to mediate between all parties. It seems like it could be that Christine was having a hard time during her first year of plural marriage when you brought her into that mess. Maybe not the baby. If I had to guess if it was that pressure or if it was the baby, I'm going to go with the pressure of keeping this entire plural family together.
Yeah, because Mykelti wasn't born yet, and she's the other mediator who stepped in, which I would like to point out, being seen as a peacekeeper, a peacemaker in the family, that is a trauma response, so I just want to call that out.
We need to head back to Nancy. Robyn slept in a closet. We didn't get to see it, which that was kind of a bummer.
Oh, that's for the next episode.
She sleeps in the closet the next episode?
Yep, that was on Next Time On.
Oh, I thought that they were talking about that in here. No, all right.
No,
well.
Yeah, Robyn is just really patting herself on the back for being the biggest help that Tony and Mykelti are ever going to receive for this. So thank God for me.
She's everyone's go-to gal, finally.
Yeah, very much so. She's here.
Finally followed through on that promise.
To help the most until it's time for her to retreat back to her $1 million mansion.
Next episode, the Brown family spends Thanksgiving apart. Christine and Robyn put their differences aside to visit with Mykelti's newborns. Robyn pushes Cody to reconcile with his kids. Then, Christine reveals that she went on a promising first date.
Ooh, how promising.
I'm not sure any of us know how that's going to turn out.
I have a feeling it will go well. She loves being single, though. That's the storyline that we have for the first few episodes so far this season from Christine. Single gal.
Thank you for listening. If you want to support us, the best way to do that is by subscribing to the podcast and leaving a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify.
Be sure to chat with us about the episode on our Discord channel by joining our Patreon, patreon.com/survivingpod.
Stay tuned, share with friends. See you next time.